You know, one of the things Sharon and I like about Unity, our work with Unity, is being surrounded by so many bright, forward-thinking Unitics. Not only in terms of Unity's inclusivity, but the people's lifestyle and ethnicity, but its invitation to come as you are, be who you are, and bring with you the God of your understanding. And that's good because Sharon and I have brought the God of our understanding in here to share with you this morning. And our perspective may be a little bit different than some of yours. So one of the questions we ask truth seekers of the 21st century is, have you crossed over yet? By that I mean, are you more spiritual than religious? Do you worship a white-robed helicopter God out there who hovers over you, watches every move you make, who punishes sinners and rewards the faithful, who is what Sharon and I call the anthropomorphic God meme? And you know what a meme is? Well, or do you go in here from a spiritual perspective and claim your own divinity at all levels within you and honor the divinity in everyone you meet with a silent, perhaps, namaste? One of the things that makes our message a little bit different, a little bit more spiritual than religious is what we call the TH factor. If you place a TH between WOR and SHIP in the word worship, you get worthship. Worthship is a spiritual perspective that Sharon and I champion because it's a more spiritual than religious connotation, and it celebrates our human worth and our spiritual worth as well. And you're much worth more than you think you are because you are, in our opinion, spiritual beings who have chosen another human experience. Your divinity is in your DNA. Your divinity truly is your DNA. It's not just a spark. It's not a pilot light within you. It is you in your entirety, in our opinion. The main thing that makes our message more spiritual than religious is this. We place the Trojan horses of science and metaphysics in the Troy of mainstream religion. And that's what makes Unity's message different as well. So if you have a more dogmatic, mainstream religious orientation this morning, you may want to fasten your seatbelts with what we're about to say. We base our spiritual perspective on the marriage between science and spirituality, between metaphysics and the esoteric teachings of the world's main faith traditions, as well as our own spiritual journey. Our goal as truth practitioners and, as some say, rebellious Unity ministers is to become more enlightened, more awake, more aware, more conscious, more capital S self-realized. And we want to support others on their journey to become more enlightened, more awake, more self-realized. We want to help people find what we call your spiritual IP address, which you carry with you everywhere you go. For example, for illustration's sake now, suppose that my expanded wingspan is all that can be known about God, the universe, and your relationship to both. Now, it's obviously much broader than that. It's open-ended. It's unending, like the universe. It's expanding. And so there's a lot of area in there. Now, within that area, within that field, are pockets of awareness, we call them. There's the Unity pocket, there's the Buddhist pocket, there's the Hindu pocket, the Sufi, the Baha'i pocket, there's the Catholic pocket, the Jewish pocket, the Baptist pocket, the Methodist, the Presbyterian pocket, the neuroscience pocket, the evolutionary biology pocket, the quantum physicist pocket, and there are 7.5 billion individual pockets of awareness trying to understand the whole. Now, some of those pockets are expanding. Unfortunately, not many of the pockets are expanding in their awareness of the whole. Most are stuck in their dogmatic boxes and not seeing the whole, giving themselves a chance to experience the whole. Now, Sharon and I like our association with unity because unity allows us to be a little bit Buddhist, a little bit Hindu, a little bit Baha'i, a little bit Jewish, a little bit scientist along the way. And we integrate all of those disciplines into what we call meta-spirituality. Now, as you know, Unity's co-founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, based the Unity movement's initial teachings on the best practices of many of the world's faith traditions, as well as the teachings of New Thought leaders that they identified with. And, of course, the Fillmores called what we are practical Christianity. And Sharon and I feel you can't get any more practical than applied metaphysics and understanding. So Unity's spiritual foundation was multi-channeled. And one of the things Sharon and I invite you not to do is settle for a one-channeled religion. How many of you have TVs at home? Rhetorical question, of course. Do you just watch one channel? Of course not. You watch many channels for the enjoyment. But we feel spirituality gives you a many-channeled perspective as you take the best practices and esoteric teachings from many traditions. Now, here's the key to meta-spirituality, what Sharon and I teach. But before I share that with you, we'd like everyone to raise their right hand, put your right palm over your ear. The reason we have you do this is because what we are about to say is so important for your spiritual growth and human happiness that we don't want it going in one ear and out the other. Here's our teaching. Your spiritual growth and human happiness are not so much limited by unanswered questions as they are unquestioned answers. The belief system you buy into mindlessly. Unquestioned answers. So challenge, and we mean all, unquestioned answers in prosperity, theology, religion, the arts, education, business, dieting, cooking, healing, eating, wealth. Essentially, we invite you to challenge everyone's BS. Belief system. Dogma, convention, and the status quo are the epitomes of unquestioned answers. Wouldn't you agree? So we invite you to defriend dogma and closed-mindedness in all of their forms. This morning, we're going to take a quick peek at a recorded event in the Old Testament called Hebrew Testament, but we're going to sideswipe its literal interpretation somewhat. According to the literal account of Exodus chapter 3, Moses talks to a burning bush on Mount Horeb, and the bush talks back to him. Remember the story? Well, I must confess, I've talked to flowers, I've talked to trees, and I've talked to bushes, I've talked to ants and deer, I've talked to squirrels and spiders. I've even talked to my golf clubs when they didn't do what I wanted them to do. But I have never gotten an answer back from any of these beings in spoken words. The biblical account describes how Moses, or was that Charlton Heston, was to go to Egypt and demand the Pharaoh downsize his entire workforce. Well, from a spiritual perspective, this Hebrew Testament story is apocryphal, in our opinion. The burning bush, just like the flame on everyone's head at Pentecost in the New Testament, symbolizes our fully awakened crown chakra, in our opinion. Both stories are liturgical remixes of crown chakra moments. Now, if Moses talked to an actual burning bush, it was probably a dichotomous bush. Now, Google it. You'll find that it secretes volatile liquids in the summer months that are actually flammable and ignite during the hot weather, but they do not harm the bush. I don't think that bush ever talked back to Moses, though. And Sharon and I speculate that what Moses may have seen could have been a Samsung phone or a hoverboard igniting and burning. That's a possibility. But for today's talk, what's important is the name Moses was to use when he was to go to Pharaoh to tell him who sent him. So I'm going to read verses 13 and 14 from chapter 3 in the Hebrew Testament. Been a while since I read this. Here it is. Chapter 3, verse 13. Moses said to God, "Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you.' And what shall I tell them?" God told Moses, "Say, 'I am that I am sent you.'" I am that I am sent you. Well, the name Moses was to use, of course, is I am that I am, or I am who I am. Its Greek equivalents are I am the presence, or I am the universal presence. And its Sanskrit equivalent is Om. I'm sure you've used the word Om before. Now, your Om nature, your I am nature, is your divine nature. It's what neuroscientists call your deeper self. Psychologists call it your core self or authentic self. Spiritual teachers call it your divine self or higher spiritual self, Atman, Brahman, and so on. Cher and I call it your super self, the extraordinary you, the great I am expressing itself in human form, localized as you. And by the way, there's another interpretation of I am that I am. It's really Cher and my favorite. It's about the missing comma. If you put a comma after the word that, you get I am that, comma, I am. I am that, comma, I am. What's the that we're talking about? In our opinion, the that is an outer expression of the inner you. It's a quality or aspect of your divine nature. It's your guarantee that you can handle anything that comes at you, that's thrown at you down here in skin school. Now that brings me to the title of our talk. What follows I am follows you. It will follow you wherever you go for as long as you want it to follow you, because it's based on what social scientists call a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I'm sure you've heard that term. So whatever you hold in consciousness affects how you think, feel, and act. Even your cells and genes are the beneficiaries or casualties of your thinking. Inscribed in the forecourt at the Temple of Delphi is a maxim, know thyself. Well, Cher and I have modified that maxim. We've changed the 2 words into 3 words, know thy capital S self. Know yourself. Now, we believe that this ancient maxim is really referring to our human self, but more than that, our I am that I am nature. And that nature, we believe, is all of us as localizations of the great I am. So realize what follows I am follows you. It will follow you wherever you go. So that inner peace and harmony and joy and gratitude and prosperity and kindness and compassion and unconditional love and worthiness and the language of flowers follow you wherever you go. The person who's following me this morning is brilliant and beautiful and extraordinary in her own right. And she's the love of my life. And if the truth be known, I'd follow her anywhere.
And truth be known, I'd follow him anywhere too. And we've been following each other for almost 40 years. Yeah. Thank you. So think about this for a minute. What follows I am follows you. What a perfect affirmation. Once we know the commas there, we get to create our that. We get to decide what do we want it to look like. And if we realize the power that we have with this incredible affirmation, our spiritual practice and our lives would dramatically change forever. Because with this power, we literally have dominion over the world of appearance. And it sounds so simple. All we have to do is claim it. All we have to do is use our affirmations, right? But it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy because it requires us to have discipline over our thinking and over our words. What do we think? What are our words? We get to declare what that is. But our words create our energy. And if we're not careful, that's why we get so hyper about words, that we want our words to reflect what we believe because they create an energy. So are you all ready to play a little bit this morning? Would you play with me? Okay, what we're going to do is just test this out. So and I know this probably isn't true, but I want everybody to just say, when I say go, I want you to say out loud, I'm tired. Ready? Go. Did y'all hear yourselves? And you might be true to this today because we all lost an hour, right? So it may really be true. But did you notice what happened? I can tell you that watching, your body language changed when you said it. Did you feel the energy in the room? Just saying it, even when you didn't mean it, it kind of sucked some of the energy out. So we're going to fix that right now. I'd like everybody to repeat after me. I am energized. I am creative. I am powerful. I am prosperous. I am amazing. I am beautiful. I am loving. I am divine. Yes. Take a breath and breathe in the energy. Do you feel the difference? When we claim in this way, it does amazing things. And what we have done is unveiled a code, 2 pieces of a code for making affirmations powerful. Number 1, we want to be sure that we say what we say with energy. We say it like we believe it. That's so important. I'm reminded of a story that I hope is okay to share because to me it really emphasizes how important what we say happens. It was about a sales manager actually, who was not very successful in his work. And so his manager called him in her office and she sat him down and she said, John, I got to tell you, you are very technically competent. You understand what we do. You know all the features of what's going on here. But when I watch you with our customers, there's no passion. There's no excitement. There's no energy. You don't connect. So I want us to do a little experiment. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, I would like you to jump out of bed, sing in your shower, look in the mirror when you get dressed and say, I'm great, I'm great, I'm great, with as much energy and passion as you can. And come in here ready to be wonderful. Are you willing to do that? And John said, well, I'll give it a try. I don't know, but I want to keep my job, so I'll try. The next morning, John was 2 hours late for work. Well, the manager was really upset, called him in the office and said, John, what's going on? I thought today was the day. He said, no, wait. He stopped her. I did exactly what you said. I jumped out of bed. I sang in my shower. I got dressed. I looked in the mirror and I said, I'm great, I'm great, I'm great. I ran downstairs. I kissed my wife enthusiastically. And that's why I'm 2 hours late for work. So the message is, when we do what we do with the enthusiasm and the belief and the passion, amazing things happen. You never know the results, but they'll always be worthwhile. So say your affirmations like you believe them with the energy and passion they deserve. But the second part of the code, this is even more important. The second part of the code, our affirmations must be grounded in truth. And this is the piece I think a lot of people miss. I'm reminded of a wonderful quote by Eric Butterworth, one of our favorite authors from Unity. In his book, Eric Butterworth said, things do not become true because we affirm them. And if I stop there, everybody's going like, what? It's like blasphemy. But he went on, things do not become true because we affirm them. We affirm things because they are truth. Get the difference? And so we want to be sure that our affirmations are grounded in the truth of who we are, the truth of what we believe. And when we do that, we literally raise our soul vibration to an entirely higher spiritual octave. It is incredible. And so think about this. I am that I am. I want to transform my experience. I have to transform how I'm thinking and how I'm speaking. Neuroscience supports us. Neuroscience says that when we do this, we can literally rewire our brain. And as a result, what choices we're making are aligned with what we're saying and what we're believing. So you actually see the manifestation as you rewire your brain. It's incredible what you have the power to do. Now, Bill and I like to do two things when we speak at churches. Number one, we like to give you something different. Stretch your thinking a little and see things in a new way, and hopefully we've done that. But the second thing we want to be sure to do is give you something to do with it. Like, how do I make it practical? How do I use what you're talking about? So we have two spiritual adventures for you today to take away and use this week. The first adventure is called Affirmation Sandwiches. An affirmation sandwich works like this. This is when you need an affirmation and you need it quickly and you can't think of anything because you're too caught up in what's going on around you. Anybody ever been there? You know what I mean? Okay, so this will help you. All you have to do is know the alphabet. All right? So you take the alphabet and you go through it and you come up with positive, uplifting, exciting words for each letter. So let's start with A. We're not going to go through the whole alphabet, I promise. But let's just do a couple. A. What are some good, powerful, positive words for A? Awesome, amazing. Okay, how about B? Beautiful. How about C? Creative. Okay, we'll run with those. So then you go through the whole alphabet. Just doing that is great. It lifts your energy. But then you turn them into affirmation sandwiches by putting I am and I am around it. I am awesome, I am. I am amazing, I am. I am beautiful, I am. I am creative, I am. Do you feel what it does? And if you keep saying these and go through the alphabet, you have transformed your experience no matter what you're in the midst of. This is really cool to use when you're stuck in traffic. This seems to be my thing. When I get stuck in traffic, that's when it starts getting, I get irritated and angry. If you'll look around at license plates or signs and pull off the letters that you see, and then begin to create those positive words and make affirmation sandwiches, I promise you, in the midst of the problem, you will be transformed. Your energy will be totally different. So affirmation sandwiches, that's your first experience or adventure to have this week. The second one is an invitation to take what Bill and I call the Fillmore Challenge. Now, the Fillmore Challenge, we lovingly call it that. We created it from a quote by our co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore. Myrtle said, and I want you to listen to this quote, "Never make an assertion, no matter how true it appears on the surface, that you do not want to see manifest in your life." That's pretty powerful. Never make an assertion. In other words, never say anything, even if it looks true, even if it looks absolutely true. Never say it if you don't want to see it manifest more in your life. So your challenge for the week is, can you do that? Can you go for a whole week and not say things that you don't want to see manifest in your life? This goes for simple things like I'm having a bad hair day. I mean, who wants more of those? So why do we affirm it every time we look in the mirror, right? All the way up to the economy is tanking. If you're saying things like that, is that what you want to see more of? Of course not. Now, here's the deal. You want to go for a whole week and never make an assertion, no matter how true it appears on the surface, that you don't want to see manifest in your life. But we know reality is reality, and you're probably going to have some things that pop out. We are not here for guilt trips. No guilt. The key is to recognize it. If you catch yourself, that's awesome. So as soon as you catch yourself talking about something and it's not what you want to see manifest, acknowledge it. Make it okay. Because, if we ignore it and stuff it, it just gets worse. So we want to say, that's how I was feeling. And now I'm not going to give that any more power. I'm going to acknowledge it was there. I let it go. I give it no more power. And then you make your affirmation sandwich around what you want to experience. Make sense? So we have 2 things for you to pick up on your way out to help you remember. And I think we'll have them in the back and over at this door. I'm going to show it to you in a minute here. The first one is a little sheet, and it summarizes the things we talked about today, and you can stick this up on your bulletin board or wherever you want to put it and remind yourself of the Fillmore Challenge, what Moses stands for. That's all here. The other thing we have is a basket of affirmations that Bill and I have created. And they're all affirmation sandwiches, and we just sat down one day and had a great time creating these. And you're just going to pull one out. And we affirm that this is going to have a lot of meaning for you this week. So when you pull it out, it's what you attracted to yourself, all right? You're the one who pulled it out. There's a whole bunch of different ones in there. Don't just look at it and say, nah, that's not me, and throw it back. You chose it, so honor it and accept it. So I have one, I have no idea what it says. I just pulled it out before we came up. Mine said, and they're all designed this way, I am unique, I am. Well, that's pretty true. Definitely different. I am unique, I am. There really is no one else like me in the entire world. There never was another me before me. There will never be another me again. My gifts are unique and special. Amen. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that feels good. So they're all written this way. They have an affirmation sandwich, and then they have a little statement. We invite you to take yours and use it this week. Let it speak to you in ways that will guide you in your I amness. We know that you are amazing individuals. Every single person here has such gifts to give. And so we just bless you as you move through this week, remembering what follows I am follows you. So watch your words this week and know that you create everything that will help you be the amazing, wonderful, outstanding, prosperous, beautiful, divine, spiritual being that you are as you walk the spiritual path on practical feet. Blessings.